Okay, we watched about probably about 80 snaps there. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming today. Throughout this recruiting process, very long time period as you go through this. It usually starts sometime in their early junior year, or sometimes their sophomore year. So this is an accumulation of a long effort and a great job by our coaches and really everybody who touches our program in so many different ways. You know, when we came here back in 2007, the reality of the situation was that we were selling hope. Our facilities need to be adjusted. We hadn't been to a bowl game in a couple years. It's to a point now where we are selling results, and that's the big difference. When you look at where we're at right now, you can look at our record. You can look at the record over the past 5 years. You can look at the two number 5 or better rankings. You can look at the top, winning the last 4 bowl games. You can look at the record in the Big Ten. You can look at a lot of different things, and you can point towards those things as being a lot of success. But how you get there, I think, is really what defines you. It's how you're getting there. You're getting there with continuity from our coaching staff. We're getting there with continuity from our administration, both our president, our athletic director, so many of our administrators, all of our personnel. We're getting there by putting guys in the NFL. That's been happening on a consistent basis. We're getting there by, I say it over and over and over, about the chemistry of our football team, the culture that exists here right now, the way that we're doing things, the way that our Board of Trustees really supports us in all the different things that they've done, the facilities that have been built here since coming here, the different players trusting us as we've gone through this last 8 years. So we're on year number 9, and I can honestly say that this group of people, this group of young people, I don't know if it'll be our best, but you certainly have a great feel for them in terms of the type of people that they are. They are outstanding players. I think, I hear the term ESPN or whatever, top 300 thrown around a lot. We have quite a few guys in that top 300. We have just as many who will go on and do tremendous things here at Michigan State in so many different ways. The first 2 big recruits that we've got really are Connor Cook and Shalik Calhoun. I think I'd be remiss to not say that. To have our starting quarterback back, leader of our offense, guy with experience, guy that's 24-3, I think, in his last 2 years maybe. I think I've got that right. It's a tremendous asset. Shalik Calhoun comes back, a guy that's been All-American for us, is 2-time first-team All-Big Ten player. In 2013, he was the Defensive Lineman of the Year. To have both those guys back speaks not just in terms of what they bring in terms of their physical ability on the field, but their leadership, and it speaks about what's right in this program and what's going on in this program. They have opportunity to leave. They have opportunity to be drafted. There's no question about that. Their decision to stay speaks to the truth in terms of our chemistry and the culture that we've established here. And people want to belong to that. And, players that have graduated want to come back and see that and feel that. So I want to thank them for doing what they've done, making that statement, and with that, they will probably be our 2 biggest recruits. I think I can pretty safely say that. We've taken 4 offensive linemen this year, a quarterback, a running back, 2 wide receivers, a slash guy that can play wide receiver, defensive back, 5 additional defensive backs, 4 linebackers, 4 defensive linemen. Really, I think a lot of people point towards us as being a top 20 recruiting class. In many cases, I saw the numbers thrown around, but the numbers really mean nothing. As I was walking in today, I was talking to one of our women's basketball players and told her it was signing day today, and she said, "Hey, good luck. It's very exciting." And I said, "Now the real work starts. Now they have to just start to really define themselves," and that is so true in everything that we're talking about here. We've got guys from Texas, Arizona, Michigan certainly, Ohio, Virginia, Florida, Illinois, Utah. So we have more of a national brand, I think, this year maybe than we have in the past. So because of our winning, because of what's gone on, I think, nationally in terms of what we've been able to do, we've been able to capitalize on that in recruiting and build a base, not just as a football team in the Midwest and the Big Ten, but a little bit more of a national base in terms of what we've done done. Florida would be included in that as well, as we got a guy from Florida as always. With that, I'll just talk about each young man as we go forward here, and sort of go from there, and then answer questions as we go, because we do have a number of guys. So we'll start with our running back. One running back that we did take, L.J. Scott, is an outstanding player. Never wavered throughout the process. It doesn't take long when you put on the film to see that L.J. Scott is a guy that will be able to play in the Big Ten and carry the load. He's used to carrying it. He has about 9,000 yards in his time there. He was the Player of the Year 2 years in a row in his division in Ohio at Hubbard High School, which is the same high school that Curtis Drummond came from. But the main thing that I'll remember, I mean, great vision, great cutting ability, big physical, 225 pounds, 6'1", can go the distance, has everything. Played in the All-Star game out in California, the Fidelis All-Star game. But the most noticeable thing that I got is he stayed the course. And when he gave us his commitment, I think it was in July, he maintained that commitment throughout the entire process and never wavered. When there were a lot of people that were trying to knock on the door, he never wavered once. And I think that speaks to the credibility of not only him, but credibility of our entire class. We don't lose many committed guys. We never have. In this day and age, if you make a commitment here, it's okay. I know in the early process how things go, but if you make a solid commitment here, the tendency is for our players to stay with those commitments. And very, very proud of that fact, because that speaks to the relationships that have been developed, not just among our players, among each other, but with our host player and with our coaches in general. But LJ will be an outstanding player. He has the capability to play next year. I believe that. Usually running back is one of the first places you can play as a true freshman. Reminds me very, very much of Le'Veon Bell. Certainly much more highly recruited than Le'Veon, and you know where Le'Veon's at right now. But he'll have an outstanding career here. Our quarterback that we took, Brian Lewerke, committed April 19th of last year, was one of our first commits. Again, another guy that was one of the best players in the West, another top 300 guy. Guy that threw for 5,500 yards in his career there. Outstanding leader. Reminds me a lot of Kirk Cousins in the way that he handles himself, the way he goes about his business. Creates with his feet as well as with his arm. Was in camp here and threw the ball very, very, very well with efficiency and a lot of snap. Delivery was very, very good, and has the opportunity to work out and see NFL guys every day. When I was out there, I went to the guys that were working out at his high school, Colin Kaepernick, some of these other guys. So he has coaches that have developed him to a high level, and I think that he will be an outstanding quarterback for us. Excellent student as well, and again, he's maintained that composure and commitment in a leadership position as he sort of has endured all the different people coming at him as well. So. Outstanding player for us. Let's start with their offensive line. Keontae Stallworth. Many view Keontae as the number one player in the state of Michigan. Guy who's committed a long time ago, probably last spring. Said that he wanted to play for us as a sophomore, has maintained that approach throughout. Had an opportunity to watch him practice. Very quick-bodied, very explosive player. You watch him on film, as a defensive player, he's very, very good at there as well, but I really think that he's an offensive player. He can get out and pull. He can play a lot of different positions for us. He's athletic enough to play tackle, powerful enough to go inside, but a guy that, again, another nationally recruited young man, another top 300 guy in the country, and, all the things that you want in an offensive lineman he possesses. Saw him at the Sound Mind and Body Camp last year as well as in our camps previously, and just was dominant, was a dominant performer in that area. Noah Listerman, big, very big offensive lineman, goes about 6'7", 6'6", very athletic, hasn't been playing football all that long, plays 5 different music instruments, so we're bringing a band here. But, he is an outstanding young man, very, very big upside, athletic, and gets on people. And when you're that big and you get on people, good things tend to happen for us. So we're looking forward to him coming from Winton Woods High School. Harlan Barnett was his recruiter. Mark Staten and Jim Bowman obviously very much involved in that recruiting process as well, but Noah will be an outstanding player here, as with most offensive linemen, probably redshirting the first year, but I think he has a tremendous upside for us. Highly recruited guy as well. Tyler Higbee from Houston, Texas, was the player of the year, outstanding lineman of the year in Houston, private school, and comes from an outstanding school, Kincaid High School. Basketball player, has relatives up here in Michigan. I think that was the attraction. Committed early in the process as well, probably sometime here, I believe sometime here this fall, early fall. I can't keep everybody straight up here, but very athletic and big. Another big guy that will pay dividends down the road in terms of what he'll be able to do. But everywhere you go in that high school, or that school really, because it goes from age 4 on up, the people that talk about him and the things that are said about him as an individual are very, very far-reaching, tremendous. He will be an outstanding person here, an outstanding player here at Michigan State, and a guy that was highly recruited by many, many schools throughout the Southwest and Southeast as well. Cole Chewins from Clarkson High School is a young man with great growth potential, 6'6" or 7". Much like Jack Conklin when he came in, very athletic, played defensive end, can really run, has good strength, upper body strength, plays basketball, 2-time state champion on their football team as well. And again, another young man, when you go in that high school, what people say about him on an everyday basis as a leader and as a doer are things that are extremely impressive to you as a coach as you move through the process there. So he will be an outstanding player for us as well. Was the defensive MVP on their team. Going to the wide receivers, Felton Davis from Virginia, top 300 guy as well. Big, tall, 6'4" guy, track athlete, decathlete, really almost like a decathlete, runs so many different events. Was recruited sort of as a decathlete by some institutions. But big, rangy, great ball skills, been committed since early in I think maybe sometime last summer. Again, I can't remember this, but it's been committed for a long period of time and has never wavered as well. Outstanding high school, Ron Burton's high school, so you know it's got to be outstanding. And but I think the relationship's been strong there ever since he's come on campus, and he was up here a number of times for games and throughout the summer. So, guy that I think will find his way. We lose 5 wide receivers next year, and I think he'll find his way onto the field very, very quickly. So, can be a dominant player for us. Goes up and gets the football. Darrell Stewart's a guy that plays multiple positions. We'll recruit him as a wide receiver, but he's played quarterback. He's played defensive back and also wide receiver. Great catching ability. One of the better players in the Houston area. Nimitz High School, which is Coach Samuel's high school, and again, he's very proud of that as well, bringing up a young man from that particular high school where he's from. So have an opportunity to play for Coach Samuel's, and that'll be outstanding for him. So track guy and very, very athletic. David Dow is a guy that we recruited as a slash guy from St. Ed's High School, state champions, another top 300 guy. And David has the ability to play corner, and we will lean towards defensive back when he comes in here with the idea that if he has to go over and play wide receiver, he has the ability. He'll start at corner, may transition to that field safety, which is very much like Curtis Drummond, but he's got great leaping ability, great ball skills. He's big, he tackles, and he's from a tremendous high school in Lakewood St. Ed's and very well coached. They play our defense there, which gives him a tremendous upside for us. So he should not miss a beat in terms of installation and things of that nature. And we look for him to possibly get on the field very, very early in his career. When you go to the defensive backs, and he would be considered one, or sort of a slash guy, Grayson Miller from Kentucky. Grayson came here in camp and earned the scholarship. He's about 6'2", 195 pounds, ran 4.4 2 different times in camp, long jump 10 foot plus, vertical 35 inches with great ball skills, and you just had a feeling like somebody was missing something. So we offered him a scholarship. His father, John Miller, played here. He's a tremendous hitter, great ball skills, plays all over the place at his high school, another state champion high school. And down at Scott County. Was hurt in his first game of his senior year, committed early in the process at camp actually, and has maintained that commitment throughout. But outstanding student. Another guy, when you go into the high school, I mean, I just believe you win with people. I guess that's the message here. You win with people. At some point in time, you find out the truth about people as you move through the process, and they either add to your chemistry or they subtract from your chemistry. In this case, I think all of our guys are adding to this chemistry, and Grayson Miller is no question that he does that as well. But he's big enough to go in and play star as he puts on weight, but I think he's athletic enough to step out there and play that front side safety. During camp, he had the opportunity to work against some excellent athletes and was very, very good in coverage. Kari Willis from Jackson Lumen Christi, another young man who committed early in the process. Dual player. He is a running back, safety type player. We're going to recruit him at safety, play him at safety. Reminds me very much of Isaiah Lewis in the way he moves and the toughness factor. Isaiah was an outstanding running back as well, but he's going to show up quick on the football field. He's a no-nonsense type of guy. He backed Coach Barnett right up underneath the basket and blew out his Achilles. Okay? So he's responsible for that right from the get-go. But tough-minded. He's a basketball recruit as well. If he decides that he would want to do that, he would have my blessing to be able to do that. Our basketball coaches know who he is. He can come right down the middle of the court, down the lane, and slam it. And an outstanding football player as well, but very, very excited about him. Goes about 200 pounds, and it's all toughness. And he's a no-nonsense type of guy, excellent student, and I think he will be a quick performer for us. At corner, other than David Dow, Tyson Smith from Orchard Lake St. Mary's reminds me of Ronaldo Hill, who I coached here back in the 90s. Very smooth, very athletic. We used to talk about Ronaldo being the truth. Very, very aware as a football player. Great ball skills. He's been in our camp in the last couple years. He's a nephew of Bobby Williams, good friend of mine. And I just can't say enough about him. Again, another young man who was on a state championship football team, another young man who's in the top 300 prospects. That's a very general term, I think, that's thrown out there. But with that comes all kinds of different recognitions. But plays baseball, runs track, playing an all-star game right now as we speak. Khalil Gaines is the one young man who reminds me of Keyshawn Martin. Electric, plays quarterback, wide receiver, defensive back from Frostproof, Florida. Guy that runs track, plays basketball, all over the place. Tough-minded athlete and very highly recruited young man. And another top player, I think, in the country. And he's the one player that we took out of Florida this year, but really has the ability to run and make plays. Great young man, and was up here on a visit this fall camp. Josh Butler's from Dallas. Josh took a bus up here during summer, basically because we've established that, I guess, that reputation is putting out top defensive backs. And I guess you could say that's accurate with, Trey Waynes being probable, I would say it's a probable first-round pick this year, and Duquez Denard last year. So we've got 2 first-round corners, if you're listening out there, that have graduated from here and have played through 3 and 4 years here. But Josh Butler is that kind of guy. He's in the top 250 prospects in the nation. Very highly recruited guy, very well-coached guy, much like Tyson Smith, very smooth. Has played safety this year, was hurt after the first 5 games, so he didn't finish the season, but played corner as a true freshman. But as a junior, he played corner for them. I'm almost going there. Okay, but outstanding football player, very well coached, excellent kick returner, punt returner. And as I said, took the bus up 2 days riding to get here and experience Michigan State. And made that decision early in the process among I think he had about 50 scholarship offers. So Andrew Dow, one of the twins from St. Ed's, played safety in their secondary, was a running back the year before, really concentrated on defense. again, a state champion. Doesn't take long to put on the film of a senior film to see that he can play. And decided on that really very quickly after seeing the film. Makes plays in space, great ball skills. Will play at outside linebacker, the star position for us, goes about 215 pounds. Very active basketball player. Both he and his brother from a very disciplined high school. State champions, play the highest, probably the highest competition in the state of Ohio. Very excited. Another number 300 ranked prospect or whatever. I think he's 197 to be exactly. I'm not quite sure. Either I got to write bigger or get glasses pretty soon. Tyreek Thompson is over here in the house. Tyreek is an outstanding linebacker from ML King High School. Excellent student as well. Made the decision to come here early in the process and is enrolled now and will be here for interviews after. Started his first winter workout yesterday, so you can speak to that, speaking to the difference in terms of being recruited and being there. But again, another young man that I just think had in his mind he wanted to be at Michigan State because of the people and the chemistry. But with the opportunity to be here at this point in time, we'll have the opportunity to get on the field very, very quickly. So very, very exciting to have him here, and he's in the audience today. But another guy who was in the top 300 in the nation, and a guy that was generally considered number 2 or 3 or 4 in the state of Michigan as a top prospect. So a very highly recruited young man, had opportunities to go all over the place. Drake Martinez, play him at a linebacker as well, about 6'2" now or so, 215 pounds. Runs very effectively. They say he's the number 3 or 4 JUCO outside backer in the country. What Drake has done since we recruited him earlier in the process, he's electric. He can run, he can tackle, he can catch the football. He's an athlete in all respects. He could wind up playing at any position. Because of the JC transfer rule right now, he will graduate because he came from the Big Ten. Right now, the fact will be that he may have to sit out. We will go on a public, what do they call that? You go out in public and try and just stimulate things. A public outcry, I guess, to try and get him to have 3 for 3 left. Every other conference in this country does that. There's no reason the Big Ten Conference should not be doing that as well. He spends a year at a junior college. I think that he should have the opportunity to go sit and play, go play wherever he wants to go play, and not have to sit out a year when he is eligible. So we'll look to be able to do that, but that's on the back end of things right now. He'll have to sit 1 year and play 2. He made the decision to come, even though he had the opportunity to go elsewhere in the Pac-12 and be able to play 3 for 3. Another statement towards what's going on here and what's going on with the people here, the chemistry here, the culture here, and the direction that this program is going. And I think that's, again, I think those are the things to me that speak volumes about this football program right now. You win because of things like that. You win because of the chemistry and the culture. Kenny Willikins is a young man that will come here from North Point Christian. Outstanding football player. We'll look for him to join us in fall. Big, physical, plays Mike linebacker, plays on offense as well, and I think he's got a tremendous upside for us. Very, very active football player, outstanding student as well. Getting close. Raekwon Williams, defensive lineman. Raekwon's a guy that another guy probably had 50-plus offers, top 300 player, 6'3", 4, 5". I guess he's 6'5", 280 pounds. Very athletic on the basketball floor and then on the football field as well. Has not been playing football all that long. Extremely powerful and athletic is the word that you use. I mean, I guess you look at him as a larger Lawrence Thomas as we recruited LT. But he will be a fixture here. And, when you are around Raekwon, when you're around Ray, he just makes everybody better around him in terms of what he does, in terms of the intangibles, the way he brings forth effort from people, and then just the way he works. When I saw him working on his basketball court, and they have an outstanding basketball team up at DePaul Catholic, the way he handled himself with his coach, the way he worked at it, was very, very impressive. He did beat me in pig. Okay? Cassius Pete. It's a late ad here. Made the decision today. Big-time player. Came down to, obviously, some very, very big programs throughout this country. Very active player, shows power, plays on a basketball team as well. Corona is an outstanding basketball team. I think they may be undefeated. Maybe they've lost one game, I believe, to a team from Connecticut. But this will be the third time maybe that they have an opportunity to win the state championship if they can roll through the playoffs. But a big-bodied, power forward type guy. Very, very athletic, shows a lot of power in everything he does, plays with a great effort, and a guy that I think that can get on the field very, very early for us at defensive end. Another top 300 prospect. His dad actually played with Coach Rochar, and also played with Coach Burton in the NFL. So there were some relationships built along the way. Brad Salem was his recruiter, and he just got that feeling as we went through the process. So very, very excited about him joining us today as a committed player for us, and he's signed, sealed. Justice Alexander, big defensive end from Dantonio, Ohio. And Justice is a guy that came to camp. It's about 6'4 plus, 235 pounds, long jump 10-3, vertical jump 35 inches, runs in the 4-7 area, has a huge upside. Has not been playing football that long, so this year he had 10 sacks through his first 10 games, and then they went to the playoffs. They went all the way to the final game in the playoffs in the state of Ohio, and at that point in time he had 22 sacks. So he had 12 sacks in the 4 playoff games, so got better and better and better as the season progressed, and he is a true diamond in the rough. Very, very athletic, can really run, and we'll have an opportunity to be coached here with our defensive line. Let's see here. Moofy Hunt is our last guy, I believe. And Moofy is a little bit different situation. He committed today from another, had opportunities to go throughout the areas in the West out there from Utah. Came on a visit a couple weeks ago. And he will go on his mission, first of all, for a 2-year mission before coming here. I guess it would be in 2017. And again, I think that speaks volumes about what's going on here in terms of our culture. He is an outstanding football player, big-bodied, tremendous acceleration. He will be mature when he comes back from his mission. And I believe that God sent him on a mission to do some great things in his life initially. And when he comes back, as he said, he will join his Spartan brothers. His Spartan brothers will be waiting here when he comes back. And that completes our class. So I'll take some questions now, and I think it's a fantastic class, and maybe one of our best that we've had here.
Again, if you'll wait for the mics, everybody's excited about being ASAP, so if you'll be patient with the microphone, I appreciate it.
Mark, they say national championships are won on the defensive line where you have just stockpiled the last 2 years of talent. Will you talk about the foundation there laid to take the program to that next step, please?
Yeah, we've got guys. There's no question about that. We've got big athletic guys that can run. We're bringing 3 more in right now immediately that can run and move. Moofy will join us at a later point in time. But I don't think there's any question about that. You win up front. We've been good, very, very good on defense here, and there's a reason we've been good, because we've been able to stop the run. I think we're number 1 in the country this past year as well, stopping the run. So that's where it's got to start. We've got a group of guys from last year's class that we redshirted. We've got some guys that are seniors this year that will carry on, and we've got some young guys coming that are going to put their foot in the ground immediately, and they're going to be a force. When you look at guys like Cassius Pete, he has the mindset to be able to play early. Justice probably is a redshirt guy. I think Raekwon Williams also has the ability to play early. He's so athletic on the inside. There's certainly always going to be a jump in terms of level of play. So the more on the edge you can play, probably the faster you play. But I think Raekwon actually has the ability to play outside as well. But we'll see. But all of those guys are very, very good players. I think you're correct in saying that. And we should be good for a long time there.
Yeah, Mark, Mark, so half of this class is from south and or west, outside the Midwest. It's the most you've had, but it's kind of been trending that way for the last few years. Is that because you can now go out there, or is that also because you have to more in the last few years?
I think the key to recruiting, recruiting great classes, is being able to identify who you want, number one. That's number one. I don't care about all the rankings and everything, but who do you want? Then can you go out and get those guys? So we've expanded. We've always looked across America for players. Now we're finding that we're able to go get those players. Some of them some of them are attracted for a variety of reasons. Different players, different situations, different places. But we've gone after most of the players that we wanted. We've gotten most of them. And, when you're looking at guys that you offered early in the recruiting process last year in the spring, and you've been able to get those guys, it's a great recruiting class. The fact that we don't have to rally back and come back on guys at the end of recruiting is a very, very good sign. And we haven't had to do that. Really, I went for a run this afternoon because I wasn't worried about anything. No drama. It was nice. And that's the way our guys have done it here. There never been a lot of drama. They've let me know when and what they've been doing. Even in the case of Cassius Pete, I knew for quite a while that this was the direction that he was going to go. But, sometimes it's just for my ears only. And that's how we've tried to handle it.
Mark, you talked about your top two recruits being Connor Cook and Shalik Calhoun. Maybe your other top NFL prospect might be Jack Conklin, who was a no-star kid, and those guys were low. You talked about not caring so much about the rankings, but you do seem to have a higher middle in terms of where kids are ranked. What's the value of that when your top recruits and your top prospects may be kids who were really unheralded?
Well, what's happening now is we're not sneaking up on anybody, whether it's on the field or in recruiting. When Michigan State offers a guy, the immediate thing is let's go see what that guy's got. And so we're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. So with that comes some stars, I guess. And I think that we're just on, we identify players. Everybody's out there working hard, very hard, across this country. We identify players, and we've done a nice job in terms of the relationships that we've built. And we have a great product to sell. Like I said, we're not selling hope here. We're selling results. And that's the biggest thing. People know when they come here they're going to have an opportunity to be an All-American. I believe we've had 6 or 8, I can't remember. I know there's a difference. We've got guys going to the NFL. We've got 6 guys going to the Combine this year. We've got guys catching a lot of balls. We've got tailbacks that run for a lot of yards here. We've given them the ball a lot. We've got guys. And people are coming here because of the results that they've seen that have happened with others. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's attracting a high quality of person, and it's attracting a high quality of player. And I think there's a correlation in winning between the two.
Mark, going back to the no drama today, you get everything in by 12:30, I think, all the letters, no surprises, and you've seen it go the other way, too. Is this sort of the ideal signing day for you?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Mufi made a decision late in the process because he had not made up his mind because he actually visited last weekend 3 places where, he went from us to another place. So we waited on that one, and that was a little bit of an unusual situation, as I said, because he's looking down the road and he's looking into the future. He had some decisions to make about his future. But I'm really excited about him coming here. But, I was here one time. I think we waited for a half hour for some guy to try and get to the fax machine and push the numbers to dial the numbers. So no drama. We had our first winter workout yesterday, and it was said, as I said to our football team, hey, the 95% of who we are next year are right in this room right now. So we got out ahead of everybody, and that's the way it should be. So we will continue to get out ahead.
You have relationships with coaches, strong relationships in Ohio and Michigan. In your first 4 years, you were focusing on that area. Now that you expand out across the nation, how hard is it to have those relationships with coaches to identify the kids?
Away from here?
Yeah.
I think a lot of our coaches have coached elsewhere, and, they've been in those areas. I mean, Brad Salem has been in Arizona. We've recruited Arizona for the last 8 years. really 5 years, 6 years since Brad's been here. He has connections down there. There's a lot of people that are from the Big Ten down there, so we have a name in that area. So we're just seeing the fruition, I think, things come to fruition in terms of all the work that he's done down there. And then you've got some different relationships like Coach Burton with the Pete family, and then also, Brad's the quarterback coach, and he recruits down there, and he formed a great relationship with the Lewerkes over the course of time on the phone with his high school coach, an outstanding high school coach and program. So we're seeing that in different areas as well.
Coach, Kari Willis comes to you guys on the defensive side of the ball, but he also leaves Lumen as their all-time leading rusher. Do you potentially see him on offense here one day in the future?
I think we tend to take players here and move them to wherever they're going to get on the field the fastest. I don't think there's any question that he could play at tailback, but we didn't recruit him at tailback. We recruited him to be a safety. I look at Isaiah Lewis since he's departed, and I see the value that a guy like that brings to our football team, and I think he can be that kind of guy. He's got great ball skills. He's extremely active. He's a very tough-minded guy, as I said earlier. I think he's got great tackling ability. So, there's a lot of positions that he'll play, but he'll end up playing first and foremost in the secondary, and then on special teams right off the bat. So, but hey, you never say never, because you know how injuries can be and those type of things. But he's an electric football player. There's no question about that. And you see that on the basketball court as well. You see his sudden change of direction and his power.
Mark, I want to clarify on Drake Martinez. What you're saying is that because he was previously in the Big Ten, it's a Big Ten rule that
it's a Big Ten rule.
So is there like an appeal then?
There's an appeal. There's due process, so we got to get it out there, right?
But you talk with compliance about trying to appeal that officially?
Yeah, petition it, or get the rule changed, or whatever we got to do. But I think when a young man has played someplace and he'd gotten sick and lost 35 pounds, and he leaves and goes back home, and he spends a year in residence at a junior college, and his grades are all in order, and he's going to transfer and graduate and fulfill all the requirements, that I think he should be able to play. So that's the direction that we'll go with this, and we'll see what happens. But I think we need to make it public, and we need to get people working in that direction.
And then
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Everybody's got some public opinion. Throw it out there.
Sorry. And then real fast on Mufi, his scholarship starts now, or it just starts when he gets there in 17?
His scholarship will start when he gets here, because he'll still have 5 years. You're on a 5-year clock once you start college. So he will go on his mission in June, and you have a lot of respect for what he's doing, and he will come out of there a man with man experiences. So it'll be interesting to see how he transitions to Michigan State, but he's all in, and we're very, very excited with him and for him and his family. And it'll be interesting how we stay in contact with him throughout the process as well, because it'll all be through email, because there cannot be any conversations taking place. So it'll all be through email. So, but true testament to what he's trying to do.
Coach, I want to ask you about the recruiting process a little bit. It almost seems like there's kids who commit, and it almost seems like now you got to get parents to commit too. And I know you've been, I don't want to say stringent, but when a guy commits to you, it usually lasts. But I guess in the case of Malik McDowell and maybe other instances, now we're hearing parents waffling after their kids say they want to come here. What challenges that present? How do you deal with it? And what is your hard and fast rule if a kid is committed to you? Do you care if he visits other schools, or how firm is that?
Well, I think, first of all, that these decisions are very difficult for young people to make, and the decisions should be made within their family, okay? Because that's their circle of trust. So sometimes you get out in front of yourself, maybe sometimes. But if you want to do something, and it's in your heart, that will be maintained. And that's the guys that we've recruited. We've asked them to not visit places and things of that nature, but we really didn't have to ask any. We really don't have to. We're not pulling teeth out there. People are making decisions and staying with their decisions based on the relationships that have been formed here and what they see as their future. But these are family decisions, and that's recruiting. So not going to get upset about it, but, you just sort of move with it, I guess. Try and be flexible, especially at the early stages of recruiting.
Mark, talking to an Ohio coach, I know you don't like to single out any of your assistants, but please do for this question. He talked about when you or Jim Bowman walk into any Ohio high school, you can talk to any kid because of the level of respect you both have. He talked a lot about Coach Bowman. Would you talk about him being really a weapon in Ohio that a lot of other schools, even in Ohio, don't have a Jim Bowman?
Yeah, Coach Bowles is, Coach Bowman has been in Ohio for a long, long time, having been the offensive coordinator there for Coach Tressel. He knows everybody throughout that entire Northeast corridor, Cleveland, Akron, Youngstown, and really everywhere throughout the state. So he's invaluable in that respect. And what Bowles does when he goes in, he's honest. He's honest. He's very forthcoming. He's very direct. He's not pulling any punches. He's not fast talking to anybody. This is who we are. This is what we represent. And, that's what people get. When they come to Michigan State, that's what they get. They get a direct, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how it is. And they make decisions. And usually when they make decisions, their decisions are pretty direct as well. And you need to surround yourself to be successful. I feel you need to surround yourself with like-minded people. And that's what we've got coming here. That's the way our football team is. It's very businesslike. We're not having parades around here. You don't see floats riding down the street. We don't have a float riding down the street every 3 or 4 years. We just stay in the course. That's what we do. Okay, so that's the approach we've taken, and then we've been successful with that. And that's the approach Bowles takes, and he's extremely forthcoming, and he's going to look for that needle in the haystack as well. And you have to do those type of things as a recruiter. But when you've been recruiting for that long of time, when you've not broken trust with people, that's what happens. When you break trust with people along the way, bad things tend to follow. But when you don't break trust, good things follow. And I think that's what he's done there, and that's what hopefully all of our coaches are doing.
Mark, I wanted to ask you about, again, on Drake Martinez. When you look at Randy Gregory's situation at Nebraska, a kid that signs with Purdue initially, goes JUCO, and then I think plays right away at Nebraska, is that kind of a precedent that you could point to and say, hey, listen, why did Gregory get to play and not Martinez?
It could be. I didn't really know that. But that's why we got reporters, and that's why we got Twitter, and all this kind of stuff. So we can go. Okay? But I think there's a lot of different situations that have occurred like that. Cam Newton has gone from Florida, sat out, went directly to a junior college and then played, I believe. But, we'll research that. But I just think it's worth bringing up because I think that he wants to play football, and to have there are no givens when a person comes here that he's going to play immediately. But you'd like to see a person be able to use his 4 years of eligibility. He's used one at a junior college. He was redshirted once. You'd like to see him be able to use his 4 years of eligibility. I think that's natural to try and push for.
Mark, you talk about guys that have committed to you, hoping they don't keep looking elsewhere. And I think guys are maybe decommitting more than they used to. But have you changed on how you look at other guys who've committed other places in the last few years? Is that something different? Or?
Well, I think that what we've tended to do is if we've offered them scholarships and they've committed, we've left them alone. If we've not offered them initially and they were going elsewhere, we may offer a scholarship and see what their feel is. Much like a new coach getting in, you have new options now. And, the opportunity to reconsider new options is something a little bit different than actively recruiting a guy throughout the entire process. I think what we do is we check with people to see if they still feel the same way, but we don't want to step over the line and but people are, I know that people are actively recruiting until the very end. I think we're just trying to do it with the athlete and the family and the high school institution in mind, not cross the line. But I think when you do offer somebody that you've not offered before, then they have an opportunity to explore that opportunity. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Mark, the 3 recruits that you had from Texas committed prior to the Cotton Bowl and all that, and I assume you've gone back to their high school to visit and just reconnect those dots a little bit. How were you received in those high schools since the Cotton Bowl, and do you foresee that state remaining strong for you?
Yeah, I think everybody was great when we got back there. I think they were very receptive because we were with their players, and again we established some trust there with those people. But it doesn't hurt to go down there and win in the Cotton Bowl, and everybody in the state's watching it and is a part of that. So we've got some green down there. We always have. It's got a large Michigan State Alumni Association in Houston, in Dallas, and we're well represented down there. So it was very, very good. And actually, one young man didn't have a coach because they were in transition. Another young man had an entire school behind him, but his family was from up here. And another young man, we went down to visit, and he didn't have school that day. So, but very well received in the high school and in every respect.
Mark, you mentioned L.J. Scott and all the people kind of knocking on his doors late in the process. What does that kind of do for the perception of this program that he was willing to stick with you guys, considering the high-name programs that we're still?
Well, I think it has to do with him. With him, there's a lot of high-profile programs that are knocking on people's doors, or whatever the case, or retaining their commitments, committed guys. But I think it speaks to him, the fact that he didn't take a visit, the fact that he didn't go on an unofficial visit, and he committed early in the process. I think it was in July, I believe. He just stayed the course. And I think the other thing is, we played this year. We win 11 football games. We lost 2 games, and those 2 games were difficult. They were difficult because we had to respond to them. So he saw us at our worst and still maintained basically his commitment. And I think that speaks volumes towards his character as a person. And I think you win with character.
Time for 2 more guys.
Coach, you mentioned your jog and not having to stress about the press conference. So what did you think about? I mean, did you reflect on just how nice it was, or are you already spinning forward into spring football, spring game type of thoughts?
I was thinking about today. I was thinking a little bit about cut-ups, and I was thinking about spring ball. So it goes to a lot of things. When you get tired, all things spin into your mind. Okay, but I just think that it was a great day. There was not a lot of drama, like I said, and it was just very on time. The way things came in today was very much on time. Nothing that we didn't expect. Everybody I talked to last night, and I think I talked to every young man last night, or left a message for them that everybody was exactly, this is when we're doing this is what's going down. They were very informative, and things went right as planned. So it was great. It was a great day, and it was a great day for Michigan State. I think it was an outstanding day for Michigan State, and it speaks to the future that continues to be built here and the direction that this program's going.
You have, according to NCAA rules now, 48 hours, a 48-hour window. I'm just curious, because you had all the hay in the barn, were you able to start with any 2016 calls and reaching out to any guys at all today?
No, we did not. They have to call us. People have called us, but we're not calling. We can't call any individual. But they have called us today. I think it's sort of natural that, there's 2 ships passing in the night there. So it's time to get on with it. There is no... I've always said, I think I've come in here the last 8 years, it's like the Chinese New Year. We're having New Year's now. Everything starts again. Recruiting starts again. It's already been going. Here comes winter workouts. Here comes spring ball. Here's a little vacation time. Here's the time to redirect yourself, critique yourself, get Coach Schneider on board, get him used to our players and our system. So there's so many different things that are going on here. But it's sort of like our new year now, and this is really the result of 2014, the season, the recruiting. And it's a good time here at Michigan State.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
And the assistants will be available.